Hi guys, I have a knife review to do today. It's the Surefire Edge model EW-09. It's kind of going to be a brief overview. I'm not going to do a whole lot of real detailed specs on the knife. If you want a full spec sheet, feel free to go to Surefire's website. They'll have a detailed sheet there. I'm sure most of you have been to their site at one point or another anyway. I haven't had this knife for that long, maybe a little less than a year. I won it in a contest, a YouTube contest for, it was from Hell's Army. JT was doing it. I'm not sure where JT has been lately, but he has great videos. If you haven't checked out his channel, I recommend you do so. The knife is a pretty big knife. I mean, I have pretty big hands, and it fills my hand pretty well. The blade is a 154 cm, and it's kind of a stonewash finish here. You probably can't pick that up on the camera, but a really cool finish on the blade. It's got a kind of a modified tanto here, with kind of a lot of belly to it. The handle is a really high grade milled aluminum, really thick, kind of heavy duty. I've never actually used these, but these are kind of a hex tool. It's got several of them here, ranging from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Pretty helpful, I guess, if you ever find yourself in that situation. I've just never had myself in that situation. I don't carry this knife a lot. I have a lot of other knives that kind of lend themselves to be more effective for my purposes. So, but this one more so just sits in my safe and looks pretty, I guess. It's got a lanyard hole here too. I don't really do a lot with lanyards. I'm not real big on lanyards. I guess they serve their purpose. I don't have any knives with lanyards on them. Not that other people don't like lanyards. There's plenty of people out there that do. I've not sharpened this knife. It came fairly sharp from the factory, but as always, as with most knives, can use some touch-up, and I'm sure that most people with moderate skills can improve on the edge. It's kind of like a big kitchen knife looking thing almost. Kind of looks like it's made for chopping vegetables or something. I mean, your fingers aren't going to get in the way. It's got this big choil and recessed area here, and this big hand guard, which also is kind of a flipper, which you can flip it open. Kind of a big knife, so a little clunky, so it's not going to come out super fast. One of my favorite features about this knife, and others that I'm sure I'll review later on, is the deployment method. This hole here is similar to the Spidey hole that Spyderco does, which Spyderco incidentally is probably my favorite knife manufacturer. I find this deployment method to be the easiest method for me, whether you're wearing gloves or even without gloves. I think it's easy to find where your push-off point is here, and this knife obviously kind of clunky, but thumb studs for me, I guess they serve a purpose. They're pretty good. They're not my favorite, and flippers also not my favorite. I definitely prefer this type of spider hole type deployment. Also doubles as a hex head here. As I said, this knife, I don't carry it a lot. It's pretty expensive. It's a high quality knife, but for the price, these retail about $250, and for the price, I just find that there's a lot of other knives out there that will fit what I need them as a carry knife much better. This one, there's nothing really bad about it that I can say. It just doesn't fit me. I prefer a little more grip to the scales. These aluminum scales aren't as grippy as like a G10. This pocket clip, while very functional, I mean it's pretty tight. I don't know. It's kind of flashy. And I know these cutouts serve a purpose so that you can use the tool, but I don't know, just kind of weird looking, I think. Let me show you some size comparisons of some knives you might be familiar with. So there's the Surefire. This one's probably, most people are going to be familiar with this knife. This is the Cold Steel Recon 1. The Recon 1 is actually a bit longer, but for some reason this knife, just kind of the width of the blade and how chunky. It just feels much heavier and much bigger for some reason, but then when you look at it next to the Recon 1, it's really not. Another one, oh, I like the grippiness of the G10 on the Recon 1. Maybe a little too grippy, but another one you'll probably recognize. Everybody's seen the Spyderco Tenacious. Probably the best bang for your buck folder in my opinion. Easy to sharpen too, by the way. There's a size comparison there, so pretty similar. Actually, I'll put this up here. My favorite knife, which I'll actually get out of my pocket because I'm carrying it at the moment, is this one, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So here's one that you've probably seen 100 reviews of as well. I mean, this is kind of an example of, I love this knife. This is my favorite knife. The G10 is grippy but not too grippy. The blade shape is just really useful and economical. It does get pretty thin, but good quality knife. S30V also, which is my favorite blade steel. I love the grip on this. Everything about this knife is just perfect for me. That's why I carry this probably 90% of the time. Maybe another one that you might be familiar with is the SOG Flash 2. So here's a kind of roughly the same length. Again, you can tell just how burly this this blade is, and it's a little deceiving because of the swedge on the top. It makes it look thinner, but it's just a heavy-duty knife. Anyway, that kind of concludes my review of this knife. Again, as I said, it's a good knife. Just for the money, I think that there's other things out there. It's definitely unique. It's just not one that I've ever found myself carrying. Really, it just kind of sits there and looks pretty. Most of the Surefire knife line, they're really expensive, and they're just not quite what I would consider useful. I guess I'm sure some people would argue, but anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great day.